Yo, Max, what's that in your hand?
Bro, that is a Red Bull actually.
Dude, I got one in mine too.
Hey, cheers to that, bro.
Cheers.
So yeah, dude, Red Bull. Energy drink.
What is Red Bull?
What is Red Bull? How do you know about Red Bull? Well, first of all, it's a really good energy drink. And if you have long nights studying, that is just not.
It's helped a lot.
It has,
Yes.
especially on those nights before them tests.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, actually, Red Bull didn't start out as Red Bull. Red Bull started out as Krating Ding. Krating Ding was this Thai energy drink. Thai, yeah. And this dude from Austria, 27 years ago, right?
27.
27
Jeez.
years ago, he came to Thailand, and his name's Dieter Mateschitz. And Dieter Mateschitz is this dude who had a jet lag. He was there on a business trip, and he tried Krating
Who
Ding.
doesn't have jet lag?
Dude, I have jet lag all the time.
All the time.
So then Krating Ding turned into this drink, and he was like, okay, I'll bring this to Austria, and there I'll invest $500,000, and the Krating Ding owner will invest another $500,000. And somehow they just worked together and started promoting it. But you know what the funny thing is? They don't produce it themselves.
That is very, and that's something I heard a lot. They outsource their production. That is a great way to reduce costs because there's many different problems and many different running costs that production has, and if they just pay someone else to do it, it's out of their hands, and they can focus on the more important aspects, such as marketing.
Of course, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's just give some background about the company.
Let's
Red
bring
Bull.
up some background about the podcast. We're not sponsored by Red Bull.
We have to say that, but apart from that, currently Red Bull has a trademark of $9.6 billion, making $6.3 billion in revenue in 2020.
Wow,
That is huge.
that is.
You know what's
amazing.
even huger though? In 2020, they spent 1/3 of their marketing or of their budget on marketing.
Wow,
Imagine that. That's a number in the billions.
in the billions right there, and I mean that just shows how much commitment they have to marketing, and it must, like, we must talk about how it began. I mean, these two millionaires who invested $500,000 into an energy drink company 27 years ago. Like, how did that begin? And it was a very interesting phenomenon that they used to, spread their word, because I mean, not everyone drinks energy drinks.
I used to know.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of energy drink action in nightclubs and festivals and
Absolutely.
in the younger population. So then their entire goal was to focus on their market. That's how, like, you start growing a business. And the way that they really began is not by spending crazy amount on ads, but a very simple idea was something to do with trash cans.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So what they would do is they would take the cans of Red Bull and they would crush it up like someone has drank in it, and they would leave it around trash cans, leave it around bars, on like the bar stands and everything.
Why would
And-
you do that?
well, the reason is something called for social proof,
Okay.
where if people would see these empty Red Bull drinks around, they see, oh wow, people are like really drinking this, maybe I should try it out.
Oh,
And
wow.
amazingly, it worked.
So you're telling me that Red Bull got this large through putting empty cans next to trash bins?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, no, so I was actually looking into this. In the beginning, Red Bull was actually banned in Germany and banned in Europe largely, which was a huge thing because in the end of the day, that meant that people crossed the border to get Red Bull. And I'm personally from Germany, and it's a huge thing to like do these type of outlawish things sometimes there, especially in that time. It was a huge thing.
Yep.
So they cross over and they start promoting it in nightclubs. So they had a very, very specific target group moving towards those people, and I thought that was really amazing. Now, Dieter Mateschitz then went out, and currently, actually, Red Bull is a marketing department and a media house. And why is that so important? Well, actually, they spend so much of their marketing on talent. They have so many people they're sponsoring, and they give you this feeling that when you're drinking Red Bull, you're just like your favorite athletes, just like John Olsen, just like all these people flying the crazy planes, right? That's so crazy. So you get this feeling that you're active. Even you're drinking a drink that has way too much sugar, dude.
Oh, it does.
It's good though.
It tastes good, and I mean that's another thing that really attracts it. But I think the marketing is just amazing. I mean, they have one energy drink, and and they sold over 7 billion cans in 2019 with one energy drink. I mean, it's just the marketing that they use is crazy. And for example, one thing that they focus on is sports. I mean, from airplane racing to motocross to football to Formula One. I mean, well, soccer, Formula One. It's just crazy. And why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Dude, yeah. So actually, Red Bull really put its essence into sports, extreme sports, but also normal sports. They have 4 soccer teams or football teams, whatever you're gonna call it, in the whole world, and they have this like flow where a player might start in Brazil and they might go over to Austria, and in Salzburg, RB Salzburg, which is the Red Bull Salzburg team, they would be getting really good, and then move up to RB Leipzig.
And you know how successful they've been. Went to the semifinals of the Champions League.
Dude, yeah.
The best.
That is top notch, and that's giving them a bunch of brand exposure, really.
Yeah.
And then maybe at the end of a lifetime, a player will go to New York, and in New York they have a team, and they're investing and they're making money through that. I mean, in 10 years, the valuation of that team tenfolded.
Yeah.
Those are crazy numbers to see in a $250 million valuation.
Exactly, and I mean, in New York, it's just going to get more and more valuable.
Absolutely.
I mean, so it was an amazing investment that they made in 2006, and sorry about that. It of course was very worth it. I mean, it's amazing what they did with just a small team in the MLS and how much it grew.
No, especially all those extreme sports events. You know, one of the major ways that Red Bull actually got onto the map and really got up there was Felix Baumgartner. Felix Baumgartner was the guy who Dietrich Mateschitz sent into space. You know, he was sent in a balloon. And you see, that is the
everyone
reaction.
in the world has seen that video.
And that is the
amazing.
reaction. And that's what they wanted to get. They spent 25 or $50 million on that project. The exposure that they got was valued at $2.5 billion.
That is just amazing. I mean, the amount of people, like you can ask anyone around our school. I mean, they've probably watched the video, seen something about it, because it was an amazing feat. I mean, through Red Bull, they could do something amazing, and everyone in the world would see. I mean, the exposure that as you said, was amazing. So I mean, Red Bull is just investing these little things, these little pockets of media attention, just created a massive brand exposure.
And I mean, let's talk about F1, right? It's imperative to talk about F1 when we're talking about Red Bull here. F1, you're very familiar with Red Bull. Tell me about their team.
Yeah, so then the team, Red Bull, in 2006, they bought a team in Formula One. As I want, again, this is the focus of Red Bull in marketing. So they bought a team, and they bought actually 2 teams. I'm sorry, they created Red Bull and Toro Rosso, which is Red Bull in Spanish. And pretty much, of course, they were.
That's a really cool name, by the way. I'm so sorry.
I know, I agree. But of course, in the beginning, they weren't that great. But the biggest change that Red Bull in Formula One and Toro Rosso saw was a man named Sebastian Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel.
What a guy, dude.
In 2007, he won his first ever race with Toro Rosso, which is the second team. And
AlphaTauri, right?
Yeah, now it's called AlphaTauri for those who don't know. But it was amazing. I mean, he just like what happened in football. I mean, after you start getting better, you start going up the teams. So then he went from Toro Rosso to Red Bull, just as a player would go from Bragantino to Salzburg to Leipzig. So at Red Bull, from 2010 to 2013, he was the most dominant racer you could argue ever. I mean, he won 4 titles in a row for driver's titles, and that is just amazing feat.
No, I agree. I mean, apart from the fact that I might be a bit biased and say,
of course,
he is a great racing driver. I think it really gained them a bunch of exposure. By now, Red Bull's spending over $500 million every year on marketing, and on marketing in F1, and of course, you know, the team development, which is just a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
But I think it truly pays off, especially now in Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. They've just been carrying on this legacy. in tight battles. And I'd actually argue that their close championship last year really did impact the way that they were perceived as a team, right?
Yeah.
They really got that extra bit of traction, and now with Drive to Survive and all these other ways of F1 really gaining traction, I think it's a huge deal for them to be in there. But let's kind of get back to the business side, because we've talked about, okay, their marketing side, but we briefly mentioned that they were outsourcing. So let's look into the numbers of it. The manufacturing cost of a single can is approximately $0.09 US. Now, the average wholesale price in Western countries is $1.87. So wholesale meaning how they sell to Walmart, at what price they sell to Walmart, and so on, in these huge quantities. And this just retail price of a single can in Western countries is $3.59. That is $3.5 more. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
So with 7.5 billion cans sold in 2019, it helped generate over $6 billion in revenue, and a third of that they invested to marketing. And that's the Felix Baumgartner stuff.
Yeah.
Now, can we just talk about that margin that they have there?
It is, I mean, to make this for 9 cents.
This right here.
It is
and it
absolutely
is good,
insane.
man.
It is good. I mean, again, like I said with the outsourcing, it is a great form of business that they would only focus on the part that they
Especially because they can focus on the stuff that they have to focus on.
Exactly.
They're truly just focusing on those things that they have to look at, those things that are really important to drive their business, and from there on, dude, whatever. If it's 0.9 or 0.08, it doesn't make that big of a difference.
It really doesn't. And I mean, when you sell 7 billion cans worldwide, you know you've done something right. And as we've been saying throughout this entire year, they've definitely been doing something right. And I mean, it's just amazing how such a small idea, small investment, and just from a guy being jet lagged in Thailand to becoming one of the most successful, if not the most successful energy drink company in the world is utterly amazing, in my opinion.
Hey, thanks so much for having this convo with me. I really enjoyed it. If you guys want to see more, look at our other podcast episodes here at YTech Now. We post every 2 weeks on Spotify or anywhere where you're listening. So yeah, really cool.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, mate.
It was fun. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you so much.